Hello, my name is Anjani. Thank you so much for joining me for this demonstration video. I'm going to cover a breathing technique and a massage technique that you can do for yourself to help keep you grounded in your physical body as you're experiencing waves of emotions. So what I find that often happens, it's twofold. It's like we're having an emotional experience, meaning that there's a big energy that's moving through the physical body, and we clamp down, trying to hold that emotion in or to keep it contained or controlled. And energy in motion is best in motion, not to be clamped down, contained, or controlled. When I had a regular job, I was in the Navy for 7 years. And when I was in a situation in a work environment and I was having a big energy moving through me, it's not like I can just start doing stuff to my body in that moment. So there are techniques for being in a situation that you cannot address your physical body. This video is not that. What I'm going to be covering in this video is how you can hold yourself physically through emotional situations where there's energy wanting to move through your physical body. I'm going to show you what you can do with your own hands to facilitate that movement. So, first of all, no judgment for wanting to clamp down and control the body, because that's what we're taught to do, to control ourselves, to control our emotions. This is not healthy. This is not the holistic way for working with emotions. So emotions are natural and they're normal, and some feel really good and some don't feel really good. So the idea of control is I feel like it comes from a system that is linear based, that says that there is something wrong with chaos. And for health and for healing, we actually need that. Like when that big emotional, let's use anger, because Mars and Jupiter are close together right now in the sign of Aries. You'll be able to see them visibly in the sky, 24, 25. We'll be able to see them in the sky this last part of April. So anger, it's this big, the way I experience in my body is this uprising of heat that rushes up. I can feel it in my eyes, like pouring out heat through my eyes, through my head. I might even get a little bit of a sweat. So this is a healing expression. There's like an energetic expression that's able to whoosh, move this huge energy through the body. That in itself is beautiful, wonderful, and healing. When anger becomes not okay is when that energy is moving and the person decides they need to take an action based off of that energy in motion. And they don't know how to just allow the energy to move, that it's okay, that it is okay to feel that energy and to allow it to move. Then it's like, oh, something's wrong and I need to do something because this thing, and that's not the way it works. So what we're going to do when we feel, so now this is anger and it's this big rush outward. So first, ask yourself, without putting the name on it, if I hadn't have called that anger and I just said this heat that's rushing upward and I feel it moving through my eyes and through my head, but I didn't call it anger, And whatever the stimulation that was the trigger that brought that emotion up, if I take that out of the picture and it's just this energy moving through my body, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing that I need to do. So really what we need to understand about emotions is that we don't need to respond to people in the moment of our body expressing an emotion. And for intimacy, for building relationships, we can say to the person, oh, whew, I'm feeling this energy rising up through my body. I need it. I'm going to take a minute to just hold myself and to feel this energy. And anybody who has access to empathy is going to be okay with that, with letting you have space to feel this energy. And this can actually be a way of building intimacy with the person, rather than taking that and projecting, like rather than taking that rise of heat and throwing it out at somebody or at a situation. So that's the first thing. Second part that I want to cover here is breathing. So because in our current culture, I don't remember the exact number of breaths that we take per minute, but it's a lot. And we really don't need to be breathing so fast and so rapidly. So that's the first thing, taking deep breaths, regardless of whatever emotional surges that you may be feeling. All day long, you want to get in the habit of taking deep breaths. So from practicing I've been practicing body work since 2006. I have never quit studying the healing arts. I'm constantly in a course studying something related to healing the physical body, and just, I will say, healing in general. It's not just the physical body. So one of the things that I've noticed over the years is that people are breathing from, I would say, like from here up. And what that means is that when you take a breath, that this part of you is expanding and contracting. Well, these muscles here in the neck and in this upper portion of the body are accessory breathing muscles. These are not meant to be doing the work of inhale and exhale. So what's happening is that so many people are breathing with these muscles and having a lot of neck pain, a lot of shoulder pain, and they're completely disconnected from the actual breathing muscles. So your actual breathing muscles are going to be all these muscles that are around the intercostals. You can feel your ribs. Just take a minute and feel your ribs. Just get acquainted with them. I take my fingers and I use them like a rake and go along the muscle. So going with the muscles, raking them this way. And then you can do up and down, which is it's called cross fiber friction. That can be a little bit uncomfortable, but it also helps to break up adhesions. So what I would recommend is every day to cover your entire rib cage. And you can, if you can, reach your back. You want to remember, breathing is like filling a barrel and contracting a whole barrel, meaning that rib cage, think of it as a barrel. I feel like a lot of people focus on the front of the ribs and they're not stretching that back section of the ribs. So you may be wondering, what does this have to do with emotions? I promise you it has everything to do with emotions, because this is energy that wants to be moving through our body, but our breathing is restricted. And so it feels like the energy gets stuck. And I hear people say all the time, oh, my chakras are blocked. Or I have a blockage in my energy. You don't have a blockage in your energy, but what you might have is areas in your body that you've built up walls of tension that are built to control yourself, to control your energy, to control your emotions. And this is causing anxiety, panic disorders, all sorts of emotional related, like what they call mood disorders. So opening up your rib cage is going to help a lot to take a deeper breath. When you take a deeper breath, there's more new information coming in. So let me describe to you this pattern. And in Tantra Yoga, there's so many actual patterns that we can get into later, but this is just going to be for basic. Don't worry about all the tantric yoga techniques. You're just going to imagine that there's a breath. I call it a cool lunar inhalation. So there's this cooling breath that comes like this. So it's pouring in through the nose, pouring down, pushing on the diaphragm. The diaphragm pushes down toward the pelvis. This is a deep inhalation. Rib cage expands, your belly expands. The reason the belly is expanding is because your diaphragm is a dome, and it expands downward. And that downward push is going to push on your everything in your belly. So the belly does expand. So that's the inhale, and it goes downward. Now your exhale is a contraction, and it moves the energy upward. So if you notice, when I take a deep breath, at the end, you can see a little bit of upper clavicular expansion. On the exhale, you can see the contraction. Okay. So full, deep inhalation and exhalation. Now, for the technique that I shared one, which is that raking movement over your intercostals. The next thing, which I find to be, oh my gosh, I give all my massage clients who are having anything breath related, there's this technique that I give them. I did it myself for many years, but it's maybe something I can revisit. I was going to say it's useless now, because so we're going to take our fingers and we're going to bring them underneath the rib cage, and you want to be able to get maybe about here up underneath the rib cage. And you can't just get in there. You can't just go in and expect that you're going to open that up. Most of the time, it doesn't work like that. You have to work your way in. So you're going to get a little bit of oil. Maybe not. I used to do this first thing in the morning and I didn't have oil, but just even bringing fresh blood and oxygen and movement, just friction, just bringing movement to underneath both of the ribs. You can do one at a time. You can do both. It's so weird. It's a really weird feeling. So what you're going to do is just take your hand, dip it in underneath the ribs, and tuck it in. And then you can move your fingers around like that. It's actually a little bit easier through clothes because, unless you have oil. If you have oil, then obviously you can just get right on your skin and move your hands underneath your ribs. The other thing you can do is go into your pelvic bone, and it's the same technique, but with the pelvic bone, I don't know if you'll be able, you won't be able to see, but you could use your thumbs so that when you dip into the pelvis, you're just bringing new blood with your thumbs. Yeah, I think the thumbs are the best way. That you might get somebody else to help you too, but this is something that I used to do on myself all the time, because doing that self massage in under the ribs and in the pelvis is going to help open up your capacity to take a deeper breath. Being able to take a deeper breath equals more space in your physical body for energy to move. Okay, one more thing as we bring this video to a close. I want to share a yoga technique for before you start your this process with your body doing that self massage. So it's called something, I can't remember. I think it's like progressive relaxation or something like that. But at the end of every yoga class that I teach, I think I might have a video on YouTube. If I do, I'll link it up. If I don't, I will make you one, because I know I have it on my hard drive. So basically what you're going to do is lay down. You're going to progressively relax your body, starting with your toes. You're going to squeeze the toes, and then you're going to release. You're going to squeeze your leg, so it's like contracting the muscle, and then you let it go. So you also want to do this with your breath. So you're going to inhale and squeeze, exhale, completely release. You're going to go through every part of your body doing that squeeze and release. If you're, oh my goodness, you can squeeze your shoulders and drop. You can do that with your rib, what do you call this thing in the back? Your scapula. So you're going to pull your scapula back, squeeze, 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 and release. And you're going to go through all of your body doing that process. And then you're going to go into deep breathing, cool lunar inhalation, expanding the ribs, expanding the pelvis. I mean, you don't really expand the pelvis. It's like the diaphragm pushes down and you can feel pressure on the pelvis. Exhale, feel everything contract. Then you're going to take your hands and rub like breaks along your rib cage, going along the direction of the fibers. And then you can do a cross fiber friction along your rib cage. Don't forget to do up here. These are your ribs also. Then after that, you're going to take your fingers, dip them in underneath your rib cage, and give yourself a light massage. You can do movements like this underneath your rib cage, or you can just tuck them in and do a little friction. Explore your body very gently. Like, don't force anything, because it can be very degrading, traumatic. Like, we can be loving and kind with our body, and as if it were somebody else. I know that sounds weird, but for some reason we usually will approach another person's body with more reverence than how we would approach our own body. So think about that in everything that you do. It's like if you're in the shower, even just washing, like, have some reverence for your body and touch yourself in ways that you would want to be touched. So there you go. Little technique video for you tonight. Again, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to connecting with you again soon.